Hi everyone, and welcome back to the Tom Morgan Drum Studio. Today we're back on the drum set, and I'm going to share with you something that I, over the years, have found to be a helpful way of thinking about practicing. Practicing the drum set is different than practicing just about any other instrument because improvisation is always involved in what we do. And so really what we have to learn how to do is practice improvisation. And what that normally ends up being for most students is just sitting down at the drums and goofing around, just playing. And we end up playing the same things over and over again that we know how to play. And you can be, there's nothing wrong with goofing around at the drum set, but sometimes it's not very productive. We don't really make much progress or have any kind of systematic approach to move us forward or to increase our vocabulary of things that we can play. So over the years, I kind of developed a three-part system to structure my practice time when I practice improvisation. And it's called invention, perfection, and integration. Okay, invention, perfection, and integration. And I'll just go through it, show you using a simple little idea as my example to show you how this works. So you sit down at the drum set, and the first period of your practice time is going to be involved in inventing ideas, making things up. Now normally when you do this, you don't want to just, have the whole universe as your possibilities. You want to structure it or limit yourself to some idea, like some sticking pattern or some concept that you're exploring. So what I'm going to do today is take a very simple idea, and I'm going to call this the lick or the idea that I've invented. And all it is just a sequential pattern of notes on the drums. So here it would just be snare, floor tom, bass drum. Okay, so the logical thing to do would be to come back with that. So we go. So that's our little idea. It doesn't sound like much, but we like it, say, and we think, well, let's take this to the next stage, which is perfection. Okay, now, before we do that, it's important to say this. One thing I've learned over the years is I might come up with a really cool idea when I'm practicing, and even work on it somewhat during the day. And then I come back the next day and I think, now what was that thing I was doing? And I forget what it is. So what I've started doing is I just take a little notebook of some kind and I just start writing down licks and ideas that I've invented, okay? And I do it in a very simple way, and I just, record them. Now you could record them other ways. If you don't want to write them down, you could use a recorder and record yourself playing them. But somehow make a record of what you've come up with, so you can come back and continue to work on it over the period of the next days and weeks and months. Okay, so that's my invention. Now I'm going to start the perfection, or maybe we could call it the exploration segment of my practice period. So I'm going to take this idea and I'm going to just start messing around with it. I'm going to see what the potential is of this thing. Okay, so first, and plus I just need to learn to play it better, right? I don't want to just play it this way. I want to be able to play it faster, okay? So the first thing is I just start working on getting it to where I can play it faster. obviously I've played that before and I've worked on it, so you know, you're likely, when you come up with an idea, you may have to spend some days and weeks perfecting it and getting it to where you can play it. But you also want to explore it. Like, what can I do with this? So here's some things I might practice. How about just playing single stroke triplets and then getting into this and then, you know, getting back out of it. So if I go about here, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that's a simple thing. Now, what if I start it in a different place? What if I started on the and? 1, 2, 3, 4. So I started it on the upbeat. So that gives it a whole different feel. It puts all the drums on different parts of the beat. Okay, now I could just take part of it too. I could say, well, what if I just played part of it and left off the part that goes back? So I just do it like this. Okay, so what if I put that into a triplet form? So it's a 4-note pattern, snare, tom, tom, bass, but I'm now going to think of it as da 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 triplets. So I'm going to do it this way: 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that kind of sounds cool. And what if I went ahead and played it back the other direction and still thought of it as groups of 4? So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Let's see. So what if I add it to where I go and then so now I could play that as triplets. Okay, so there's a lot of potential to this little thing. Also, I could just play it fast, like kind of a fill type thing, like. If I get it fast enough, I can use it to set up like a downbeat fill like this. Okay, so we could sit here all day and just think of ways to play that, or think of, you know, ways I can perfect it and use it in different ways. Now we're kind of bleeding over into the third category now, which is integration. Because it's one thing to invent it, and it's another thing to begin to perfect it and explore it, but it's another thing to actually integrate it into your playing. And so this means I want to be able to play it and then get out of it into something else, or get into it from something else I already can play. In other words, we're making it part of our vocabulary. Because when you improvise, you're really not just spontaneously making things up you've never played before, okay? It may sound that way when you listen to some great improviser, like they're just continually spinning out new ideas that are coming to them from, you know, wherever. But that's not really what's happening. They have a vocabulary. and a great improviser has a very large vocabulary. And they're drawing from that vocabulary, and they may be combining their ideas in new ways that they've never done before, but they're not normally just playing something they've never played. It's something that's become part of their vocabulary. Just like when I talk, I don't use words that I've never used before that I don't know the meaning of. I'm drawing from my vocabulary, and the bigger my vocabulary, the better I'll be able to express myself. That's why a college student can hopefully express themselves better than a first grader. We're hoping that is the case. So, you know, we want to just try things. So I'm going to play just some time and just get into it and out of it back into time. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so those are just some ideas that are kind of based around playing time and getting into it. I also want to just practice other stickings that I know and see if I can get into it. Now that one idea I had about making it into groups of 4, that's something I would really want to work on, and I have actually worked on this. I'm still in the process of kind of integrating into my playing, but it sounds pretty cool. When you use it that way. So I'm basically, again, subdividing triplets into groups of 4 using this pattern. So I'll play that again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so when you're out there listening to it, it'll sound, I think, kind of interesting because you're going to be hearing triplets, but they're going to be divided into groups of 4. So, you know, I would just sit and monkey around for a while in this third stage and just play other things I can play and then try to use it. And over time, it just becomes something that I'll begin to just play. And I won't think about it, and it'll just become just part of my vocabulary. Just like when I talk, I don't have to hopefully go search for words or try to make up words. I just draw from my vocabulary and it comes out. That's the idea there. It's, again, invention, perfection, or exploration, where you really get to know the idea, and then integration. Now, what are some other ways we can invent some things? Well, you know, you can use double strokes and say, I'm just going to limit myself to double strokes, and I'm going to come up with ideas using double strokes. And, you know, if you start doing that and limit yourself to that, you start to really exploit the whole concept of playing double strokes, and you really find out all the different things you can do with double strokes. And then take it through the whole process of once you invent them, write them down, then come back and keep practicing them every day. That's the key. If you invent some great thing and then you never try it again, it's not going to become part of your playing. You've got to always go back and integrate it, or perfect it and then integrate it. You can use a rudiment. You could certainly use the paradiddle sticking, rolls of all types. You could use the idea of playing the melody with one hand and filling in the holes with the left. You could, you know, rudiments give you all kinds of different possibilities. And in future videos, I'll probably show you about taking some rudiments and taking it through this process. But anyway, once I kind of discovered this idea, it really changed the way I practiced. I didn't just sit down at the drums and just jam. I sat down with a purpose and I had a structure. So I spent a certain amount of my time practicing inventing ideas, and then I would gradually move those ideas over into stage 2 and practice whatever ideas I had there. And then I would have other ideas that I'd taken through those 2 stages, and now when I practice integration, I practice those ideas, and I just move all my ideas through this process until gradually it becomes part of your playing. So I hope that's helpful to you. You know, put some comments in if you have any about maybe you've done something like this, or if you have questions. If you like this video, please hit the like button. Please subscribe if you haven't, because we'll be doing lots more videos like this as time goes on. Hit the little bell so you'll know when a new video comes out. And we will see you at the next video. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.